For 50.
Lewis Sharrett tried to get it up, breaking through to land on his left. If he kicks this, what a goal!
Good afternoon and welcome to the Adelaide Football Club live stream. My name's Mark Bickley. I'm joined by Ebony Marinoff. Ebony, welcome. What a picture here at Centennial Oval in Port Lincoln.
Yeah, it's absolutely stunning. We got here yesterday and Port Lincoln has certainly turned it on for us, and yeah, beautiful afternoon for footy, and yeah, the crowd's certainly turning up.
Well, I can tell you the conditions are almost perfect. It's about 28 degrees, there's a little bit of breeze blowing, and it's a very picturesque oval. We're overlooking Boston Bay to the left, and to the right we've got the grain silo. It's very much a country feel, and you've certainly enjoyed that hospitality over the last couple of days.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we've been really lucky. We've got out to a few schools, and yeah, a few of us went to the Mallee Park Football Club last night. I think we trained with the under 16 girls. We didn't actually train, but there was 14 of them. They're all bloodline to AFL players, so there was certainly some talent out there, but it's been awesome. All the boys have headed off to the communities and schools, and they've had a really enjoyable time. I don't think we've been here for a while.
Yeah, well, I heard all about Mallee Park, and you mentioned the women's program there, which is really strong, which is so great to see, and 14 players related to AFL players in the one team is extraordinary. But it also, of course, is home to one of Adelaide's favourite sons, and that is Graham Johncock. I'm not sure there's too many more popular players in terms of the fans and also the players that play with him. And he was there and catching up. I saw a picture with him and Tex, which was just a great photo.
Yeah, it was awesome. One of the young girls who was actually drafted to us not long ago said, "How did Taylor and Stiffy know each other?" And I said, "They played together." It was awesome. Yeah, it's just great to be able to get to those communities, and like they love seeing us, and lots of signatures for Isaac Rankin as well, the new fan favourite. But yeah, it was awesome.
Well, let's talk about the match today, because the guys are just going through their paces, just warming up. We've got the blue team, which is pretty much made up of the probable lineup. So they're on the left-hand side that we're looking at of the screen, and then on the right-hand side we've got more of the possibles, I guess you would call it. But there's pretty much no interchange for these guys, so they're just going to go, there's 4 quarters, so it's probably 4 20 to 25 minute quarters. Just looking at the blue team, you can see Taylor Walker, Riley O'Brien, some of those more regular players. And what are some of the things you're looking forward to today, I guess, from this match?
Yeah, I think it's an awesome opportunity. Probably one that stands out to me. Darcy Fogarty won't play today, and Chris Burgess is in the lineup for the blue team. So haven't seen a lot of him, but I think he's been really impressive this pre-season, and he finds himself in the forward line today with the blue team. So I'm sure he'll be trying to state that claim with tools, a much-needed thing, with Murray still with that ACL for the earlier parts of the year, so I'm really interested to see how he goes today.
Yeah, let's have a look at some of the other players who are going to take part in the blue side as well. We've got Josh Worrell's going to play down back along with James Borlase, so 2 great opportunities for those guys. We know you mentioned Nick Murray not playing. We know that Tom Duday's not there. Jordan Butts has got a hamstring injury. So some of those young guys will get some opportunities. So for Worrell and Borlase, an important day for them.
Absolutely, and there's not many trial games or Intraclub, so I'm sure they'll be wanting to put the best foot forward. And even when you look on the forward line, you got Lockie Gallant, and Cook's been down in the forward line this summer, so I'll be interested to see he's spent a bit of time on the wing, trained full time with the forwards, and then you've got the younger brother of Nick Murray playing in the top ups today. They've flown over to. We don't really have a bench. Yeah. Given the fact we've got the 18, so we've got about 8 of the Stanford boys that flew in today to help out the AFL boys.
Now let's talk about those guys, because they are an important part of the club. So you've got blokes, so firstly Jack Madgeston, who's going to be the captain of the Sandford side this year, but Jay Boyle, Toby Murray, Josh Smithson, Harry Boyle, Tate Coleman, Jarman Sigel, Lockie Thomas, and also Jaden Davis. So those guys, I guess, great commitment. They're the sort of unsung heroes of the Adelaide Footy Club in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely, and a lot of them have actually trained over the past 2 to 3 weeks with the AFL, just with match sim. So, they've got to be able to compete and bring that energy when they're competing against the AFL boys.
Yeah, well, we're getting very close to the start as we see the umpire hold the ball aloft. You will notice that the game will be shot a little bit wider today, because I know that the coaching staff are keen to use this vision for their teaching. So around stoppage and the ground, they want to get as much the vision, of wide vision as they can. So if you're wondering why the vision looks a little bit shot from a little bit of a wider angle, that's what's happening there. So a ruck infringement to start the play, and Kieran Strawn gets the first kick of the match. So just going long, and I think we'll see that we saw it last year with a lot of the teams that win the ball out of centre bounce, just want to go long and strong straight down the ground and try and get it deep inside their forward half. So I'm sure we'll see a bit more of that. Talk about Max Michelini. He looks a bit bigger and stronger this year.
Yeah, Max has had an awesome pre-season. I think last year, just at the back end, his body probably tired a little bit, and I think when you got a couple of years in the system, you naturally start to fill out. And I mean, everyone's super impressive in pre-season, but I've heard good things about Maxie.
Yeah, it's a good ball movement there from Adelaide. I think one thing that everyone's looking forward to is Riley Thilthorpe, and took a nice contested mark right in front of us, but they just changed the angle, so they tried to come back inside. Used Josh Rochelle, got it out to the outer side where Matt Crouch couldn't quite finish off going inside forward 50, but a little bit of an insight there about how Adelaide want to play, want to keep moving the ball off the line and not letting the defence get set behind it. So got a forward 50 stoppage, and as we've become accustomed to, Taylor Walker doing a lot of ruck work inside forward 50, got a nice little tap down there, but looks like the yellow side now coming into attack.
Yeah, it was super impressive. I mean, Luke Pedler's starting in the forward line today, and I think, yeah, with Rankin and Rochelle playing in the midfield, there's a half-forward spot that, you know, the likes of Luke Petler and Ben Keys and Lockie Gallant is playing forward in the yellow team today, and he had a super impressive, I guess, back end of playing in the AFL last year, and he'll be trying to stake his game today as well.
Well, you're right. You mentioned Chris Burgess sort of playing in the probable side, so Lockie Gallant might have thought he would get an opportunity, but he's in the possibles, but took a nice contested mark there, and as you said, came into the side late last year. He's a guy who doesn't need a whole lot of opportunities. He just seems to end up with 6 or 7 touches and always kicks multiple goals. And the other thing is he's a very good set shot at goal, which is always helpful. Well, I was just worried there it might have been the commentator's curse, but he didn't let me down. The goal umpire hardly moved there, and that's nice bit of play. I like the way they linked up out of defence.
And that was Sam Berry creating that, just a flick of the handball through the centre of the ground. And another one, you know, he pushed out last year, spent a lot of time in the SAMFL, and this is a time to really impress. And Sam Berry, again, I think he's lost a couple of kilos, just trimmed up, covering the ground a little bit better this pre-season. And this is time to shine. And there you see the new recruit in Charlie Edwards against Jordan Dawson at the centre bounce.
Yeah, what an opportunity. You can just see that. Good size, Charlie Edwards. He's almost identical size and physical capability to Jordan Dawson, but you see Isaac Rankin in the middle there. Just offers those quick feet, his ability to get his hands on it, get it to boot quickly like that. And Josh Rochelle is another one who I'm sure we're going to see in the centre bounce at some stage as well.
Absolutely crunched by the big man in Kieran Strawn there.
It's always interesting, isn't it, watching an internal trial. Your heart's in your mouth with moments like that when teammates collide, but I guess that's the desperation that some of these young players want to show. They want to stake a claim to become a regular in the main lineup. See Jordan Dawson become used to seeing that, haven't we? Be able to break away, and that's probably the thing that sort of sets him apart is his ball use inside 50. Great kick to Walker, but then Walker gets back quickly, and he's another one whose ball use is absolutely elite, and he finds his teammate in Luke Pedler.
And that's a one-on-one with Dan Curtin and Taylor Walker, and they're the moments that is great for a young player in Dan Curtin. You know, you're playing against, you know, runner-up in the Coleman medal last year, all Australian forward, and that's only going to make and further your development as a young player, and he's a big boy.
Well, Luke Pedler starts it out to the left, but brings it back nicely. Yeah, it's an interesting point, isn't it, around the way Dan Curtin, that experience. So physically, very similar to Taylor Walker, probably not as strong, but he's big and he has got some good strength, but just found himself in front. And if you're a young defender, you can't show the opposition your back, because if Taylor Walker's able to just edge you under the footy, he's just going to hold his ground and take that mark every day of the week. So those are the little moments that will be great vision for blokes like Jack Homps, who's the new defensive coach, to be able to show Dan Curtin and just be able to say, this is what you need to do next time, and to be able to combat those really good forwards.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think maybe later today we'll see the backs v best forwards, so that will be interesting as well. But just quick ball movement by Jordan Dawson. Isn't he a wonderful kick of the footy? And another clearance to him. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they go with the midfield. Isaac Rankin looks like he's actually spent majority of the time in the midfield alongside Jordan Dawson and Matt Crouch. So looks like they're really wanting that point of difference of fast feet.
Well, I guess right there you see the importance of centre bounce. We all know how, if you win that part of the ground, you can get inside your forward 50 when the numbers are evened out. And so it was Dawson and Crouch combining. It's some really nice work from Chris Burgess. Chris Burgess won the ball at ground level, and then Josh Rochelle. We know he's deadly around goal, and he just got on the end of that handball, and he's quick feet as well. Was able to run into an open goal, and didn't quite see the excitement and celebration we've become used to last year. But I tell you what, he just looks a bit physically stronger as well this year, and I think that's what we will see with some of those young players. Each year they get a pre-season under their belt. They get more equipped to be able to, I guess, be more resilient and play better footy for longer periods. So nice bit of work by Josh Rochelle for his first goal. Riley O'Brien gets his hand on the footy. It's probably the first time we haven't seen a clean takeaway, or maybe we will. Free kick there. Umpire said dived on the footy. And a little bit of inexperience there from Zach Taylor. Isaac Rankin just held the ball out as if he was trying to get a quick handball away, and Zach Taylor just put his hand in and knocked that to the ground, and that's a 50-metre penalty, and Isaac Rankin has a shot at goal. Now, you reckon he was just angling for that?
I was going to say, I think that's a bit of a cheeky move by Isaac Rankin, but all fair play. And like I said, if that's a game, and you just got to be aware of what's going on around you. But certainly has given a 50 away, and Isaac Rankin should slot this through.
A little bit of breeze around. He just pushes it to the right. I thought you knew the players better than that, Ebony, but no. Then quick kick in. Paddy Parnell brings it back in. Finds Luke Nankervis, who I was really impressed with late last year. He's got great composure and playing across half back. I thought he accepted the challenge late last year. Have you enjoyed watching his development?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you speak about Josh Rochelle and just being able to fill out their bodies, and I think that was with Luke Nankervis. He's actually filled out and playing against, strong forwards, and the way that the AFL forwards use their body work, it's really crucial to be strong. But he was super impressive. Lots of raps about the way he launches at the footy, and as you said, the ball use, and that's probably something, our backline has not been their strength in the past, and they really rate that ball execution.
Yeah, so another shot on goal there, but just a minor score. Just watched Lockie Scholl out there get a couple of possessions in that last bit of play as the whistle gets blown. I think because there's only 18 on each side and there's no rotations, what they're just going to do is every 7 or 8 minutes they'll just have a break. Everyone can catch their breath, and they'll reset after that. So we'll just see a bit of a break there. So I was just talking about Lockie Scholl. He's a player who, at varying stages, has looked like he's made a spot for himself in the team, but then has dropped out, and he finds himself in the A-grade team, I guess you would call it, today on the wing. Chase Jones on the other wing, which is a slightly different position for him. He's sort of pushed up the ground from half-back last year. Had a breakout season last year, top 10 finish in the best and fairest. So a bit of a new look on the wings, and maybe a bit of Rory Sloane on the wing we might see as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you speak about the likes of Mitchell Hinge. I mean, I think he really found himself at home down back, and the way he rebounds and his foot skills and his speed. He was one to watch last year, that's for sure. And Chase Jones as well. I mean, back when he was picked in top 10 selection, it was always spoken about, would he become that damaging AFL top 10 player with the likes of the pressure that comes with. Yeah. And he's certainly shown what he's capable of and cemented that wing spot.
Well, what he does have is he has great leg speed and running power. And, he played a lot of midfield as a junior, so I just wonder whether, he spent some time on the wing and gain some confidence, whether at some stage we might see him sort of spread through the midfield as well. As looks like Elliot Himmelberg gets a kick, and now he's been training with the defensive unit, so had a look up forward, of course, for a number of years, so he gets a chance down back, maybe following in the footsteps of his brother, as Dan Curtin gets a kick coming out of defence. There's Josh Worrell feeding the ball back. Brodie Smith, we know he's quite neat by foot, finds Matt Crouch.
And that was a difference last year, I reckon. Brodie Smith was back to probably his damaging best. We had Hinge coming off the half-back, Chase Jones, Nate Curvis late. And it's just found some real speed through the half-back, which really changed the dynamic of the team.
Yeah, well, the other thing they all can do is kick as well. So they're all very comfortable and confident in coming back through the middle of the ground. And that was good defensive work by the yellow side. The Blues wanted to come back through the middle, but they just didn't allow that. So it's they're working on their defence nicely, Adelaide. I know that's been a bit of a focus over the pre-season. Isaac Rankin was on the receiving end of a 50-metre penalty, and that one there is on the other side, so he gave one away, not happy. As Patrick Parnell comes forward and finds his teammate on the lead.
And that's Jaden Davis, coming in against Josh Worrell, and we spoke about the Sanford boys coming over today. They just got to really compete against the likes of Josh Worrell, who's trying to cement his spot in the AFL team.
Well, there's second contested mark for Riley Thilthorpe and a nice mark as well, but we're just talking about Brodie Smith and his elite leg. Well, that was, to coin Dennis Cometti, centimetre perfect as Taylor Walker. It's a big, strong contest right in front of us, and great ground pressure there. There was both Rochelle and Rankin keeping him under pressure, and there's the mistake by hand that was forced by the small forwards. James Borlase had a couple of nice touches as well over to Worrell, gets it to Hinge, and Adelaide away over to the outer side. Who's that? Max Michaelani finds it and just settles it down while Adelaide reset. And I think that's what we'll probably see a bit more from Michaelani. I think he started the year really just trying to shut down his opponent. That one there was able to not just win the ball, but then was able to become that attacking player. So he got the handball received and then ran off half back. And I think that's going to be something that he'll work on, becoming a bit more damaging, once the ball turns to offence for Adelaide.
Absolutely, and that's, the coaches being able to give him that flexibility, not just having to lock down and man up, actually being able to get a little bit loose and use his foot skills.
James Borlase again was able to get a hand on that as Jake Saligo's just come and sat down alongside of us. Said he's going to have a chat with us at quarter time, so we'll hang around and make sure you don't miss that. Good pressure again by Adelaide.
Nearly gave the microphone to Jake Saligo a little bit early.
He nearly did. Well, there's Lockie Murphy. I think it might be his first touch for the day. And he's in the yellow team. Obviously played a lot of footy with the league side last year for Adelaide. So he's got his work cut out. Got it down forward. And who was that? Braden Cook, was it? Was able to take a mark. That might have been his first touch for the day. But we know he's deadly around goals. And you mentioned, Ebony, that he has done a lot of work with the forwards so far this year.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, I think, with the likes of Chase Jones and Lockie Scholl, Sloaney, you mentioned, Saligo, these are going to be boys that are pinching hit through the wing spot. So I think Cook's found himself pushed down to the forward line, but he has impressed. He's got great mark. It's just probably his contest work that's potentially, seen him in and out of the teams. But being able to have continuity amongst the forward line this pre-season, hopefully he gets that. And he's definitely a true footballer and has got some great skills. Well,
the other thing that you mentioned, all those players that play on the wing, and we see Ned McHenry right in front of us here on the grandstand side. They're all running machines. Billy Dowling's on the other wing as well. He's an elite runner, and so the players that play on the wing these days have to have huge aerobic capacity, and perhaps not Braden Cook's strongest suit either. He's a very skillful, has got a nice step, delivers the ball well. So perhaps another reason he's found himself in the front half of the ground. As the umpires just pulled up play there. Free kick. Looks like it was for holding on, I think, on Josh Rochelle. Wouldn't quite be happy with that last kick. Not really a contest from the forwards. That'd be a bit disappointing when you're coming out of the middle. But in the end, James Borlase again's come up and cut that off. So he's been doing some nice work in that sort of role as one of those tall defenders.
And that's the thing, we spoke about earlier, competing for spots. All the boys are well aware that there's a spot up for grabs, and this is their time to make the mark. And he did impress against some of the best forwards late last year when he was given his opportunity, when Murray did go out with the ACL, and same with Tom Duday going out. But he's a competitor. He's got strong. He's certainly built like an athlete.
Well, I think who could forget his first quarter in that game that he debuted against Gold Coast? I think he had 9 touches in the first quarter, and he just looked right at home. Found it a little bit more difficult in the weeks after that, but once again, another pre-season, a bit more confidence after, playing a couple of games and knowing what's expected. So he's looked good so far. So the yellow team finding himself in attack now. Dangerous kick across the middle, but they've got some numbers there. Luke Nankervis picks it up. He's looking for someone inside forward 50. Just couldn't quite find his teammate there as Adelaide run it out through Smith and Scholl. That looks like Chris Burgess over there on the outer side. Got down nicely and trapped the ball.
I think that's right. Phil Thorpe nearly took a one-handed grummy.
So talk to us about Will Hamill. Has had moments where he's been in the side for weeks and then just hasn't been able to cement his spot. What's he need to do this year, Ebony?
I think his consistency, and we speak about the likes of Nankervis. Paddy Parnell came in as well. There's certainly boys competing for that spot. He's just probably his inconsistency. He's got great speed, and unfortunately, he's been out with concussions, and that's probably comes down to his consistency with training. He's been in and out, recovering and things like that. And if you speak to Will, it's certainly just being able to have the continuity amongst training, and he has had that this pre-season. But again, it's probably a great problem to have, something we haven't had in past with the backmen.
Yeah. That continuity in playing and training, as you said, so important. And Lockie Murphy just wasn't able to finish off there, found himself in space. I think he might have tried to keep the ball low and try and sort of score, bounce it on the line, but unfortunately there was a defender in the road, was able to cut it off. As Will Hamill came off his man then and just executed a nice ball and wrapped it up on the ground. And the yellow team have done this nicely, and they're going to go back into attack by the look of this.
You can certainly see the yellow team probably more so is the flick of the handball and keeping the speed on the game against what is probably likely the AFL team. So it's actually had some certain impressive passages of play.
There's a missed kick there. That might have been Lockie Scholl, I think it was, in the end, which is unusual because he's very good by foot normally, as the yellow team look to move forward again. Not a lot of movement in front of him. There's a run and a jump there by the yellow team. Couldn't quite finish it off. There was a snap. Who was that? That was Josh Smithson, one of the top-up players, as we take a break for quarter time. So quarter time, the blue team 2-2-14. Looks like the yellow team 2-1-13. So pretty even contest considering it's the probables versus the possible. So we'll take a bit of a break in a short second, and then we'll have a chat with Jake Saligo, who's going to join us. So just quickly, quick summation of that first quarter. What did you like, Ebony? How did you see that first stanza?
I think if you go back to the centre-bounce dominance, I think the ability to win that and score quickly was great for the blue team, but really impressive the Yellows' way to really attack when they're getting an intercept. I think Luke Nankervis got a couple then and really catch the blue defensive off guard, and they'll probably be a little bit disappointed with how easy they were letting in forward entries.
Okay, well, we're going to take a break. We've got a little bit of a package for you to have a look at from pre-season, so enjoy that while we have a break. We're going to be back very shortly, and we'll have a chat with Jake Saligo.
Welcome back. All right, welcome back. It's good to be back. 3 weeks off. All right, you see the young fellas growing up. Spent time with them, which was awesome. Kenny, what about you?
Happy to see it. My kids signed up 2 years ago.
Before we went away for Christmas, I hope you don't mind me sharing. We obviously had some long conversation. We couldn't be more pleased with what Carl brought pre-Chrissy. Looking forward to seeing you develop. We're going to develop fast. So well done, mate. 21 sessions, that's all we've got. And after today there'll be 20, so let's make this one a really good one. So everything you're doing, right, switch on. Be ready to go. Right? Let's go.
Okay, welcome back. We're here at Centenary Oval. The game's just kicked off again. So Jake Saligo's joined us. Jake, welcome. Fair bit of intensity around in that first quarter, isn't there?
Yeah, especially with the heat. Today it's pretty hot out there, so there'll be a few sweaty boys, but the intensity's always high, even at training, so it's good from the boys.
Yeah, and we see Chase Jones get some ball. He's playing on the wing. You're hoping he's not going to play too well and take your spot. But let's talk about your fitness at the moment. I saw some footage where you just hurt that ankle probably a couple of weeks ago now. How are you tracking?
There was a bit of carry-on when I first did it, but I'm tracking good now. Did a bit of a running session this morning and moving well. Got some high speed up, so I should be back before the West Coast game and hopefully the Port game.
Well, that's good to hear because I think everyone's heart was in your mouth. You know, like you do all the pre-season, all the hard work, and then the last thing you want is a serious injury. So just in a lot of ways, it just gives you a chance to freshen up. It's not going to affect you too much because you had a really good body of work.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely came at a good time. No injury is good, but if you're going to have one, it's probably a good time to miss the 2 hardest weeks of pre-season. But I'm going well now, which is good, and hopefully be back and have a bit of a training load before we get into games.
Okay, we just saw Jordan Dawson there to sort of enter the ball into the forward 50, and Luke Pedler just took a nice mark, just got his man under the ball, and he's kicked his second goal. How good's Jordan Dawson? You'll watch the way he enters the ball inside forward 50. His disposal is immaculate. He has beautiful loft and flight, doesn't drill the ball. I guess it's, you look at players like that and you think, wow, how do I sort of move closer to that? Is someone you look up to in that regard?
Yeah, 100%. Dawson's, I think it starts from the stuff off field, really. His professionalism off field, his training habits. So all starts from there, and then it shows on game day because he's one of the elite midfielders in the comp now, and he's moving well this pre-season. Hopefully he can put his name up there and to be one of the best in the comp.
Well, we've seen a few guys spit through the middle of the ground. We had Josh Rochelle, and we see Isaac Rankin in there as well. Like, talk about you. You've played in the middle, you've played on the wing. Where are you hoping to spend time this year?
Hopefully get through the guts a little bit, but it's looking like a wing sort of forward role and then rolling into the mid here and there. But, we have a lot of talented footballers going through the mid, so it is hard to get in there, but it's a great problem to have because, you got your likes of Rochelle and Rankin and Pedler who can go in there and have a bit of a burst of energy in there. So, it's great. Great thing to have. Yeah,
and that depth required, the good teams have 7 or 8 players who can go through there, and Taylor Walker taking his second contested mark as he tries to bend that one back. I think he might have done that too, so he hits the scoreboard now. Bit of a baptism of fire for Dan Curtin. He's been edged under the footy a couple of times. I just saw the runner, Harry Schomburg, go out to him. Maybe just telling him, maybe it might be back shoulder now. Maybe he's been in front a couple of times and just been edged under it. How's he been, though, through pre-season? For a bloke who's 18 years of age, he's a really nice size.
Yeah, he is a big boy, especially standing next to him. I don't know what I'm at. I'm 178 centimetres, and bloody hell, he looks like a giant compared to me. So, he's been going really well. The boys love him. He's come in really seamlessly, and he's a great bloke, and he's a great footballer too. I can't wait to see what he's going to do this year and for the years to come, really.
Any other players that have impressed you during the pre-season that you think in for a nice big year?
Yeah, for sure. Ben Keys has looked unreal in pre-season. He's been moving really well. Luke Nankervis, my housemate, give him a shout out. He's been unreal this year, and hopefully he can roll onto the wing and play that half-back role. All the boys have been really good, and we haven't had that many injuries, touch wood, so it's a great thing to have at a club.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Is that Chris Burgess?
That's
Ronnie
there.
Thilthorpe.
That's another one who's bloody impressed.
So I reckon, I know he's taken at least 2. That one there, at least his 3rd contested mark, and just able to hold his ground in front position, and that's, I guess, where he's going to catch a few people out. He's got long arms, he's a big man, and that quick kick came in, a one-on-one contest. I think he's going to relish those opportunities. So talk to us about, you mentioned Ben Keys. He looks like he's going to play that high half-forward role. It's a tough position, but you need huge aerobic capacity. He's certainly got that, hasn't he?
Yeah, for sure. His work rate is probably what makes him one of the best small forwards in the team. It's just, he works back, helps the defenders, and then he's always at the contest up forward as well. So when he gets those long arms going and pumping, you can see him running through the field. So, he'll be great this year.
And Riley Thilthorpe finished that beautifully. And look, he's such an impressive athlete, isn't he? He covers the ground beautifully, and if Adelaide can get those long kicks in, you've seen it a couple of times. Taylor Walker's taken a couple of contested marks. Riley Thilthorpe's done the same. So as a midfielder, you look up, and if you can move it quickly, you've certainly got some great options up there.
Yeah, 100%. It makes it easy as a midfielder, just looking up and seeing big Riley or big Texan up there. So, yeah, if we continue to do that, those boys are just dominating, so it's good to see.
Well, Jake, we're going to let you go, mate. You get back to doing what you do. Thanks for joining us, and also great work. Nothing but positive feedback for all the work you did with the schools and the visit you've done here in the community. So well done, mate, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks, Bix. Thanks, Matt.
So Jake Saligo there. We're excited that to hear he's not far away from coming back as we have a rebound in the middle of the ground. And Sam Berry had his hand on the ball a couple of times, and that was Edwards there who was able to win that ball. Got it to Strawn, and the yellow side are going deep into attack. Blue defence has been really impressive. They've been able to stay pretty composed. That kick there wasn't Mitch Hinge's best. It looks like Charlie Edwards again is able to go back in. They're playing kick to kick, Ebony. They haven't been able to find a player going inside forward 50 of the yellow side as Mitch Hinge just assesses what's ahead of him, and that's an ordinary kick too. So his last two haven't been his best, Mitch. But Riley O'Brien's been good enough to win it, and through a series of handball, it's ended up with Jordan Dawson. There's Chris Burgess. What's the read on Chris Burgess in terms of how he's fitted into the club, Ebony?
Yeah, I think he's been awesome. I think just being able to be back home, I think you've seen in AFL when it's always a talk, we'll go home factor, but naturally when the boys get home and with their family and friends, you're just at home, and I think he's been awesome for the club, and we speak about those big, tall, key players. He's had a real presence this pre-season, and he's started in the blue team. So I think maybe even a surprise pack. He didn't play too many games at Gold Coast and was recruited as a bit of a utility, losing some height with Tom Duday, going to Brisbane and things like that. So he's certainly impressed, but yeah, easy, laid-back Adelaide guy, you'd probably say.
Yeah, mature body as well. We just watched Riley Thilthorpe very comfortably there, kicked that one around the body and kicked his second goal for the quarter. Just looks like there's some urgency with Adelaide. When they get the ball in their sort of front half of the ground, they know they've got some real key targets down there. They move that one quickly, and Thilthorpe had just slipped in behind his man and was able to take, in the end, looked like an uncontested mark. So Thilthorpe with a couple this quarter, and after a fairly even first quarter, blue team look to be getting some ascendancy now, and 6-2-38 to the blue team, 2-1-13 to the Yellows. Yellows haven't been able to score so far this quarter.
Yeah. One who has impressed me this quarter is Charlie Edwards. I think it doesn't look like it's a matchup, but he's playing along Jordan Dawson, and obviously Dawson is a fine player himself, but just being able to, come up against Jordan in the CBs and things like that, it's just body work. Jordan Dawson's trying to chuck him around. It's awesome for his development to be able to play alongside against Dawson, and he looks like a big boy and trying to impress here. Yeah,
well, that's the thing, and I think Adelaide have been craving those sort of big-bodied mids, and that's certainly the formula. You think of Patrick Cripps and Marcus Bontempelli and those guys. Jordan Dawson is one who's got a big body for Adelaide, as Edwards wins the ball beautifully there and gets it out to Ned McHenry, but he is a formidable size, so as he gets comfortable at the level, if he can make it in the middle, he gives Adelaide that sort of beautiful flexibility of having another big-bodied midfielder.
Absolutely, and he's actually got size. Prior to being drafted, I remember seeing him when he came in his first day. He actually looked like a field-out boy. I remember like the likes of Lockie Scholl, when they come in, they're certainly put on probably 10-odd kilos. So coming in and having that size really helps you just with your training, and you actually be able to not break down and things like that.
Yeah, well, it looks like I might have got it wrong earlier. I called quarter time before. That might have just been a drinks break, and now we've definitely got quarter time. So we will take a short break, and we'll be back very soon with more. We are live streaming from Port Lincoln, thanks to the Adelaide Football Club, with the club's community camp and internal trial.
Matt Crouch, back to his best and playing probably some sample with Matt Crouch. I mean, when you go back to sample when there's injuries, there's not a lot of AFL players that you're coming up against and playing with and getting that continuity. I know a lot of the boys speak about it when they get to the AFL level. It is so much faster than SANFL. So just having those players playing the SANFL alongside them, brings you up to the speed of the game and it brings that pressure and sense of urgency when you do have the ball in hand.
Yeah, and the yellow team I didn't think were, whilst they, look like they're being outclassed on the scoreboard, they certainly went inside 50 a lot, but they just weren't able to find some targets down there. And when you look at some of the players that are playing down there, you've got a couple of young top-up players. You've got Nick Murray and you've also got Smithson there. Lockie Gallant took a mark and kicked a goal, but Hugh Bond's a young player. We've got Braden Cook down there who's back in the forward line and Lockie Murphy. So it's been a little bit of hard work for those guys. And so, whilst it's, a little bit one-sided on the scoreboard, a lot of it's been because that young yellow forward line has come up against, obviously, the A-grade defenders for the Crow side, the Blues team. So that makes it really tough. And you look at the players that are down there, Mitch Hinge got his hands on it a bit. Brodie Smith has looked really composed with ball in hand. So, it's going to be tough work for those young forwards.
Yeah, and you speak about the likes of Brodie Smith, and this is what it's going to take for the club to get to finals. These experienced players being at their absolute best, helping the young guys around them, and really, challenging and expressing to be the best. And I think you're going to see a little bit different here.
Yeah, it looks like Luke Pedler has gone into the middle. So it looks like Luke Pedler and Sam Berry have swapped. So this is...
Matt Crouch looks like he's popped on a yellow jumper as well.
Matt Crouch is in yellow, Sam Berry's in blue. So this is a good example where they're just trying to get a whole lot of players to have a run through the midfield. So Rochelli's looks like he's in yellow in that midfield team as well. So it's picked up where it's started in the first quarter with Jordan Dawson getting his hand on it, going forward. And that looks like Lockie Murphy's made the switch. He was in the yellow team in the forward line.
And McHenry's found himself in the blue forward line as well.
Yeah.
So Will Hamill has swapped as well. So I think we've had a little bit of a change up here. And, Mark Keane has jumped into the yellow team as well. So we might see Mark Keane on Taylor Walker maybe.
Yeah, maybe it just evens up a little bit there. So Lockie Murphy there. Handed off to Jordan Dawson. Thought maybe if there is any breeze, it's definitely going to... that end, which is I guess you'd call it the Boston Bay end, and Dawson didn't quite hit it perfectly, and Riley Thilthorpe got hands on it, but just couldn't quite pull it in. Taylor Walker gets the ball down, and as I said earlier, he's so clever as that ruckman inside forward 50, and he's able to sort of win that, gets it forward. I'm just trying to pick up who kicked that goal. Isaac Rankin, it looks like.
Rankin,
yes.
And
not sure if the cameraman picked that up, but a little fancy handshake there between Rankin and Thilthorpe. Might get a look at that celebration, but I'm pretty certain that's not the last time we're going to call that this year. Taylor Walker getting it into the path of Isaac Rankin at a forward 50 stoppage. He's so clever on the move.
And, with Isaac Rankin last year, first year at the club and just playing with alongside Taylor Walker, they'll be better for it.
Yeah.
They'll really starting to understand how each other play. And Isaac Rankin was probably in All-Australian contention until he did his hamstring late last year, and what a debut season he had. But I think they're going to be big things from Isaac Rankin. He'll certainly spend a lot more time in the midfield this year.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I think he kicked 36 goals last year, missed 4 games, so really, probably around the mid-40s if he had played all games. And so you'd love him in the forward line and you want him on ball at the same time. So I think he definitely will start at centre bounce and play some footy there, but I still think he'll spend a lot of time in the front half. As a little mistake by hand from Hinge, but was able to get it back to Will Hamill, find Chase Jones. Jones finds Ben Keys. This is the important kick, isn't it, going inside forward 50. Bit of a scramble there. No mark taken. Lockie Murphy ran onto it. Maybe a little bit unselfish there. Could have perhaps put it on his right boot and had a shot. Chose to handball, missed the body and ended up being a rush behind. So Parnell, he's been given the kick-in duties today for the yellow team. Such a beautiful kick.
Another one that really impresses with the foot skills.
Just see there, the ball just holding up a little bit in the breeze. James Borlase again just led his opponent to the footy, which is his opponent is a young man, Nick Murray's younger brother, Toby. He's a good size, probably a couple of inches taller than Nick. not quite as big across the shoulders, not many are, but he's getting an opportunity, and he comes from a similar background, obviously, as Nick, so he's come from the clouds, really, to get the opportunity to train on with the Adelaide Footy Club.
Yeah, so he's come down this year. He'll play with the Sandford. He actually trains with the AFL squad on Mondays and Fridays, and again, just that competitive nature when required to, I guess, fill the voids of injured players in match sims and things like that, as well as a great opportunity for his development.
Yeah, good pressure by the blue team. Forced an error from Matt Crouch. Went to Lockie Scholl. Scholl centres it back to Brodie Smith. Smith looking for, who's that? Gallant on the lead. Couldn't find it. Ends up with Rankin on the ground. A snap. Thought the goal umpire liked it. He was right in the middle of the goals, but in the end he called it a behind. So Isaac Rankin will be a bit flat with that. That's definitely an opportunity that he normally snaps up. A little bit shaky, the re-entry, didn't find the body, and that's Lockie Scholl. Jess was able to pounce on the mistake. And Ebony, the one thing we do know about Lockie Scholl is he's a beautiful two-sided player, and strangely enough, not all AFL players are two-sided. But go back 10 or 15 years ago, and that was the expectation. But now, players are so clever being able to kick check sides and sort of fashion the ball on their preferred foot. They often don't use their non-preferred, but one player who's excellent is Lockie Scholl, and we saw that then. Kicked it beautifully on his left foot. Wouldn't have mattered if it was on his right. He's almost the same both sides.
I was about to say, I'm not sure which one he is, but I think that's been his point of difference over, especially in the early years. And one thing I was speaking to him the other day, just his ability to get in the contest when it's won. He's been working really hard on that in the pre-season. Just being able to win those moments when required, and I'm sure he'll be certainly wanting to push that case for the wing spot this year.
Jay Boyle is number 28 in the yellow side. He finds himself in at the centre bounce, which is a great experience for him. Have a little look. And it's interesting to see Kieran Strawn and Riley O'Brien. A lot of good judges think that Strawn is, almost the equal in terms of his ability, in the ruck craft. So he gets an opportunity to show what he can do. As Dawson again, almost the best man on the ground at the moment, winning it out of the middle, finding Keys. Keys goes back to Isaac Rankin, wearing a new number this year, a very famous number, number 23. Went long looking for Gallant. There's a whole host of players up there. Riley Thilthorpe was there, but the yellow team have safely negotiated that over the line. So we'll have a look at the forward 50 stoppage again. Ebony, tell us what they're trying to do here.
Well, I think you've got movement from Ben Keys, which hasn't been his go-to in the past, that we spoke about earlier today, in his ability to two-way run. I think last year we saw him take on Saad again when they played Carlton, just that defensive cover. He's got the ability, he's very disciplined, and I think he'll be bringing a little bit of sparkle with Isaac Rankin. Some quick handball from the boys, trying to move it out through Brodie Smith, and Brodie Smith has been impressive today.
Yeah, he just reads the ball so well. He to get a lot of handball receives like Brodie does, you've got to get yourself in the right position. You've got to be in the vision of the player as they sort of take the ball, they look up, and you've got to be there for them, and he does that really well, Brodie. And of course, his disposal is elite.
Yeah, we were actually lucky. He took over our backline late last year, and yeah, he certainly had words of wisdom. And the girls loved him, and he's knowledgeable, and I think coaching might be one for him post-career.
Yeah, it looks like Lockie Murphy there. I was listening intently. I didn't actually catch who kicked that goal. I think it was, Lockie Murphy. So he's had a couple of opportunities in this quarter after being a little bit quiet in the first quarter playing in the yellow side. So once again, it just shows it's really tough when you're playing in the probables against this elite team in the blue. So the blue side, a fair bit of control now. Not that matters, because we're just seeing glimpses, I guess, from players all across the ground as we get set back in the middle. Just interesting, the umpire's talking to Kieran Strawn. Kieran Strawn, I don't think, is all that happy with the height of the bounce. Hasn't gone his way a couple of times, and Riley O'Brien probably had the better of that duel so far. Jordan Dawson's getting a stack of footy, so we'll see what the Yellows try and do, see if they try and quell his influence. So we've got Matt Crouch and Luke Pedler. That's not a super bounce either. Maybe Kieran's drawn.
Maybe that's what he was talking about.
Maybe Kieran's drawn out a case.
Well, the umpires have flown in from Adelaide earlier today, so they're certainly up to it.
Yeah, it was nice body work there from Riley O'Brien. Got it down to Sam Berry. And you can just see there, Isaac Rankin just got ahead of the footy. He knew that the blue team were going to win possession. He gets forward and gets on the end of it in a really dangerous spot as the ball gets centred back to the middle. And Ned McHenry, that's nice work. Taylor Walker ends up taking a one-handed mark. Just parried it down with his left hand and then caught it against his midriff. And this certainly is in his wheelhouse. He's going to kick from 50. He should do that comfortably. A bit of a question mark, Ebony. We were talking about the left-hand goalpost. It looks like it might be leaning in a little bit. I'm sure Taylor Walker will take account of that and probably slot it straight through the middle.
Not sure if Taylor Walker came off the bench then, but he found himself taking up a contested mark against Matt Crouch.
What about that? If you're a young footballer, boy or girl, who wants to know what the perfect kicking action looks like, there's not many better than Taylor Walker. He's just so smooth in the way that he kicks the footy, guides it down beautifully, the leg swings through. I actually think he kicks it better from 50 metres. He actually kicks through the ball. When he gets a little bit closer, he nurses it sometimes, but from 50 metres, I'm not sure there's too many better in the game or have ever been better from that distance. And once again, he's a player who kicks it left or right foot, as we saw that famous goal in the showdown late last year. So he looks in really good shape. Kicked 75 goals last year, first time All-Australian. What a performance for him late in his career. And yeah, all the signs are that he can sort of repeat the dose, which would be fantastic for Adelaide.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, the question mark for everyone. But from all reports, Tex is a competitive beast. And yeah, he'll look to be able to, I guess, have that kind of season and impress. But the likes of Riley Thilthorpe, Darcy Fogarty not playing today, there's certainly opportunity.
Just see the work rate there from Ben Keys. So Ben Keys, the blue team had lost possession, just worked up the ground, was able to intercept there as Lockie Murphy. Beautiful kick. So all of that, I'm sure in a review on Monday, the coaching staff will be showing that. And there was two players, both Taylor Walker and Ben Keys, who as soon as they lost possession, they sprinted down the ground to make sure that they were pressing up, which allows all the other players to fold back. And because they've worked so hard, they were able to intercept that ball. And then, of course, the opposition who are all out of position, they're very vulnerable going back the other way. And it was a chain of handballs, then some smart use from Murphy, who puts it beautifully into the path of Ned McHenry, who finishes off with a goal. So just shows Adelaide now with some depth. Blokes like Murphy, McHenry, all those players who are all battling for maybe a couple of spots in that small half-forward role. And Adelaide look like they're going to have great depth in that region.
And you spoke about it's the transition, and that's something certainly the boys have been working on through this pre-season, is when the ball, is counteracted, what are they doing? And I feel like I've seen that at West Lakes in the pre-season. They do a drill especially for that, and when you're training that, and it's been a focus. Hopefully that can become a strength of theirs this season.
Well, you'd think so, because I know Matthew Nix has had it as a focus, because Adelaide were the highest scoring forward line last year, yet they didn't make the finals, which means you must have conceded a fair few scores against. And so you think about what that looks like. If you can limit the against and still maintain the scoring aspect, then that's where you start to get some real ascendancy. And Jordan Dawson is working really well with Riley O'Brien, who's right on top in the middle of the ground, and just being able to open that up, run under on his left foot and bang it deep into attack. Taylor Walker had a bit of a play on that, wasn't able to complete it. And now it looks like Luke Nankervis in the pink boots won himself a free kick.
We don't expect anything different, but Jordan Dawson has been super impressive in that midfield today. Riley O'Brien and Jordan Dawson just really working well together, which is exciting for Crows fans.
Sure is. It's a long kick. And there he is again, just bobbed up again. Takes a mark in front, the ball just dropping short. I think that breeze might have just picked up a little bit, which means the ball's dropping short. Chase Jones gets a crumb. Unable to get it out the front. Looks like Mark Keane in yellow now. Fairly calmly was able to win that ball and work it back out. Oh, very clever handball there from Ben Keys, and Brodie Smith just drew it back a little bit too far as we take a break. So both teams playing just with 18. There's no rotation, so after every 8 minutes or so, a whistle blows and everyone just has a little breather, gets a drink, and that accounts for the players, or allows the players just to recover. So, without all the rotations that we would normally expect. And blue team right on top this quarter, and a lot of it is sort of starting in the centre square. You mentioned O'Brien, who's doing some really nice work, and Jordan Dawson. That's really pleasing for Adelaide. So we're just watching this break. Ebony Marinoff's been she's been in high demand here, just signing a few autographs for a lot of the young fans here for the community camp. And there's been lots of great work. Saw some vision at the start of the live stream of the players doing a number of school visits all across the region. Even as early as this morning, I was having a chat with Charlie Edwards. He was out visiting a school this morning with a number of other players, and just said how much they're really enjoying getting out and getting in touch with grassroots footy. So it's been a pretty relaxed atmosphere so far. So the players getting out there, doing the school visits even before the match. So it's been a really successful visit so far. As we're about to resume, looks like it's going to be a kick-in for the yellow team. Here we go. Paddy Parnell with ball in hand. Plays on, as so often is the case with the AFL players this year. Going long, looking for Toby Murray. Got two hands to it, couldn't complete the mark. And we're going to have a ball up on the half-forward flank for the Crows blue team. Strawn got his hand on the ball that time first. He's going to win himself a free kick. Zach Taylor, talk to me about Zach Taylor, because he's a really impressive young man. He actually won that ball off the hands of Strawn, but the umpire gave a free kick. But he's a smart footballer, isn't he? He knows where the ball's going. He reads it really well, and he looks to be in much better sort of condition physically than what he was this time last year.
Absolutely, and I mean, you asked what he's like. He's a genuine footballer. I don't think there's many pure footballers like Zach, and last year unfortunately had a foot injury. He went in for surgery, and he was in a moon boot, and then he went back in for surgery, and he had lots of troubles, and that can be really challenging as a young player coming in. But actually speaking to him, it really helped him find his way. And you talk about conditioning. Yep. And all that thing, it's a blessing in disguise, and you probably don't see that in the moment, but we've got a
blood rule,
Kieran Strawn, and that's two competitors going at it, and Riley O'Brien.
Exactly, yeah.
We're in an Intraclub, and he's gushing out with blood.
Yeah,
but
so that was at that last ruck contest. He copped an errant, might have been an elbow, and during the ruck contest got a free kick for it, but it looks like it split him open. So we'll just see who might come into the ruck now. Might be Toby Murray, who took that forward 50 stoppage. We'll see if he goes further down the ground. But Paddy Parnell at half-back, he's pushed up nicely. They've set the wall up there, so it's going to go back in. Always difficult to go back in now because there's so many players in that congested forward line. So we'll see how the yellow team go here. Big fly by Pedler. Couldn't take the mark. Ball gets flicked out. Looks like we'll get another forward 50 stoppage. So the blue team, they'll be trying to fill in all the holes. The yellow team are trying to get on the move here and seeing if they can snap a goal. Matt Crouch gets the handball out. Pedler, dangerous kick into the middle of the ground, centres the ball, but Lockie Murphy, I'm just wondering whether he might be a high half forward who's pushed up, just filling in some of that space down there, or whether he's having a run on the ball.
it was actually, not a bad centering kick from Luke Pedler, but would have liked to have seen Chris Burgess just launch at the footy there in that hole.
Yeah, so this is the blue team now, just working a bit more cohesively, like just spread the defence first and foremost. They got everyone out wide, and then that opened up a gap in the middle of the ground for Max Michaelini to run into, and now Will Hamill got a couple of targets down the line. Jordan Dawson nearly floated across in front and took a mark. The Keys just starting to work his way into the game, isn't he? He finds Taylor Walker, and there's a great kick by Walker again. Finds Ned McHenry, that's his second mark. Well, unselfishly, goes to the top of the square. little bit of showboating, but in the end, really easy goal by Adelaide, unselfish. But it really comes down to the contest that happened right in front of us here, where Dawson brings the ball to ground, is able to get the ball to Ben Keys. Now, Ben Keys just gets it forward, but he gets it forward knowing that he's got someone like Taylor Walker competing one out. Walker, he's found himself in front a couple of times today, took the mark, and then because often you find the defensive sides are pressing up, he was able to quickly wheel around and get in behind the defence, and that's almost certainly going to be a goal most times if you can get that mark with inside 30. And a little bit of handball and sharing the ball, but in the end, a very easy goal for the blue team.
That's one thing you saw come into the boys' game last year, just that unselfishness. I think Taylor Walker probably could have had a handful more goals, same with Isaac Rankin. So it's the best thing about it is bringing your other teammates into the game and creating that energy amongst each other.
Just looking at there was a change to the ruck rule where you're now allowed to put your hand out straight and sort of fend off the other ruckman. I've noticed Riley O'Brien used that a number of times successfully so far today. So that might aid him this year because he's a very strong player. He's got long arms, obviously. So that new rule might be good for Riley O'Brien as the blue team go forward again. Another smart kick from Ben Keys. Oh, almost a mark by Lockie Gallant. Wasn't able to take it, just went to ground. But Keys' work rate gets him so much footy. Just, once again, if you're a young player and you want to know what's the secret, get where the ball is, and that's what Ben Keys does. He just continually finds himself at the fall of the ball just through pure work rate. So the longer this game's gone, the better he's got. Yeah, not a great kick there. That was Parnell. He'd be disappointed with that. Went for the short one across the ground to find Luke Nankervis, and Chase Jones just chipped in. So set shot for goal. Talk to me about Chase Jones' set shot kicking. Ebony, you watch him very closely.
He's a great user of footy, but I haven't seen him kick too many set shots. But one thing was in his game last year was kicking goals, coming off the half-back in the wing, something that Brodie Smith has been known for. Even Jordan Dawson, when he was playing off the half-back, he was really nice finisher. Last year, kicked a few more goals than usual, and he slotted that one through. And that's one thing that's coming into the game as wingers. It's hitting the scoreboard and breaking lines, and that's something that Chase did last year, and I think he's in even better nick this year.
Yeah.
Just a few more years in the system, and he's had it again. We talk about everyone's had a great pre-season, but he's been one to watch this year, I reckon.
Well, he kicked that fantastic goal in the southeast corner of Adelaide Oval last year. Might have been in the showdown as well, which was a magnificent kick. And that one there, I'm not sure if the goal umpire even moved the muscle. It was straight over his head. And that's what happens often with confidence. When you start to believe that you belong at the level, that you've done the work and you've put in all the hard yards, then that carries over, and that belief makes you a better player. And that's certainly been the last 12 months for Chase Jones. And that kick there was the kick of a very confident young man. So let's have a look here. Looks like Chris Burgess gone into the ruck now. So we talked about how versatile he was. Whilst Kieran Strawn is getting stitched up, Burgess goes into the ruck. See if he can nullify Riley O'Brien. So Luke Pedler in there trying to win the ball. Ball bouncing around. Looks like we're going to get another ball up as Zach Taylor gets his hand on it. This is where Riley O'Brien should have the advantage, shoulder to shoulder, stronger than Burgess. He'll try and hold him out, then just lay it into the lap of
Isaac Rankin, who's sitting at the stoppage with no one on.
Yeah. There, Taylor Walker against Himmelberg was able to win that contest, and great defensive work, and that's really what Murphy's been known for, isn't it? His defensive pressure in the forward half, and went long from outside 50 and just hit it into the post. So good work again by the blue team. The Crows' blue forwards have been really putting pressure on the yellow team, who have really struggled to try and bring it out of defence. And there's another example of a target that was missed, but they're going to go forward now. And unfortunately, the ball goes out of bounds. So that's Hugh Bond, number 40. So in his second year, his body looks to have developed. He's a strong player, plays across half back, can play through the middle. playing in the middle at the moment. Bit high there. Hingy not happy, disappointed with himself more than anything. That ball is Jaden Davis. Kicks into the man there. Zach Taylor entering inside forward 50, but Blue Guernsey's everywhere. Brodie Smith comes off his man, takes a mark. Dangerous kick through the middle, but you'd back him. If anyone's going to come through the middle, find Sam Berry. Berry over to Hamill. And now Max Michaelani. We talked about him being a bit more offensive, and he's been on the end of a few handballs, but...
Great moment by Dan Curtin there, just ability to press the ball carrier there, and there's the moments, just got to be ready.
Yeah, gets the ball back going Yellow's way. So that one turnover, and all of a sudden, the Yellow team now have... I think it's a bit far out. I was going to say have a shot on goal, but with this breeze, it's just freshened up a little bit. I think he'll struggle to get the distance. We'll see if there's any movement inside that forward half. The ball's been smothered again, so the last couple of entries been smothered. Smith again, it's been impressive. Well, Taylor Walker, he was going to go down right on his bootlaces, but protected the hamstrings a little bit and decided just to try and parry it with his foot. Didn't quite work. Jack Madgton there, captain of the Samful side, so a bit of a let-off for the Yellow team. Normally when Smith is free and coming out, that normally would hit Taylor Walker on the chest.
It'll be interesting to see where Ilya Hemmelberg lands this year, and I guess played predominantly as a forward, but spending a lot of time in the defensive area this pre-season. He had a hamstring that hampered him at the back end last year, but he reads the ball so well.
Well, there you go. Another goal on the back of work rate there. So there's a couple of things I took out of that, Ebony. One is Isaac Rankin around the stoppage. So just a bit, the ball just bobbles free and it's bouncing around. His ability, he's got really quick feet. He's got lightning acceleration. So he gets on the ball and just gets it forward. And then...
Evasiveness about him, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And then you just saw the work rate of Ben Keys again. Now, you know, this is why this is invaluable. Dan Curtin finds himself on Ben Keys, and you know, like as a defender, you've got to learn how to play on tall players. You spend some time on Taylor Walker, then you find yourself on the Roadrunner, who's getting up the ground and coming back, and he just worked out. He just couldn't go with him. He was just absolutely sort of burnt off, which is what most players get or happens to when you're on Ben Keys, and his work rate is such a great example for young players. So Keys has been excellent this quarter. A couple of shots on goal, and that one there he earns himself a goal from pure work rate. Back in the middle of the ground, Chris Burgess in the yellow, going up against Riley O'Brien. Bounce favours O'Brien. And there it is again. There's those quick feet. O'Brien has had some nice touch and some nice work around centre bounce. And entry goes just inside 50. Yellow team rebound this time. Cook picks up beautifully. That's what he can do. He's a very skillful player. He's got that beautiful step. Let's have a look at the delivery inside forward 50. That is elite. Couldn't quite get the finish there, but it comes out to Pedler on his right side. As a ping. Contest in the front of the goal square. And it looks like the Blue get it out. Lockie Scholl gets the ball over to Brodie Smith, and he finds Ned McHenry. They want to come back through the middle of the ground. That's a dangerous kick. Great work by Matt Crouch. Gets a spoil in there. That's Josh Richelli playing on the yellow side. Going forward. That looks like Harry Boyle with a shot on goal. Didn't quite make the distance. Is it a free kick or a mark? Who's got it down there? Ebony, can you pick up which player that is?
I think I need glasses over there. I truly can't see.
I can't pick it up. He's got his back to us, so at the moment we haven't quite got the number. That looks like a nice finish. You can hear the car horns. That's the giveaway. That's the goal. As we take a break for half-time. Might have been Braden Cook in the end, was it? They had a shot on goal. Anyway, we'll find out. We'll take a break at half-time. We're back very shortly with more. We're live on AFL live streaming here from Port Lincoln.
It's going to be a combination of the two roles.
And of course, this looks like there's going to be some opportunities down back. Jordan Butt's out injured at the moment, so we'll wait and see as the season gets closer how he goes. I think Mark Keane's most likely going to start as the key defender. So Josh Worrell, James Borlase, some opportunities for them really to put their best foot forward and give themselves a real shot at playing in round one.
Yeah, and look, they've all enjoyed a really strong pre-season. Like for Keeney, I don't think he arrived till January of last year, and so he's certainly benefited from being in the program right throughout the summer, and he's had a really impressive summer as well. Josh Worrell finished the season, in terrific fashion, and he's certainly got his hand up for early selection. And I think James Borlase has actually started the game really well here today. And then I guess we add in Dan Curtin as well into that mix. He had a little bit of a setback with the knee a few weeks ago, but it's been good to see him force his way back out onto the main training sessions, and he had some positive moments also in that first half.
Yeah, big task started on Taylor Walker, which was tough work, wasn't it? But invaluable experience. Keen to talk about Carl Gallagher, the young man from Ireland. Tell us a little bit about how he settled in. He arrived just after Christmas. Tell us a little bit about him and what you're hoping for with that experiment.
Yeah, I think with Carl, one of the things you would anticipate that might be a real challenge for him, given he's never played the game before, is putting himself in the right positions. But he's almost the opposite of that. The boys have been calling him the pop-up sprinkler because he just pops up at the right times where the ball is. And I think that we've even seen today ability to get his hands on the footy. He's obviously got a lot of growth and learning to do, but we've probably got an awakening in one of our match simulations when he laid a tackle that was far from within the rules, but he was questioning why it wasn't legal. And we thought, actually, we've got to go right back to ground zero here with Carl. He doesn't know anything about the game.
Yeah, well, he's number 36 out there, and he's, once again, every game he plays, he's going to get better and better. But I think a lot of that stuff to come across, and then all that stuff happened, and he's eventually arrived. But he's a terrific athlete, first and foremost, which is probably the prerequisite. He brings those sort of physical capabilities, and then you're hoping to be able to teach those other things like the skills and the reading of the play, as we've seen with some of the other Irish players that have come across. Yeah, and look, a lot of them have performed well starting across half back, and that's certainly where we're starting him at the moment. He's got great speed and agility. He's obviously had the kicking experience with Gaelic footy. And beyond all the on-field traits, he's a wonderful young man and certainly fitted into the group really well, and everyone's enjoying his company. Well, Adam, we're about to get underway in the third term. Thank you for having a chat with us today, and well done. The club's done a really great job here with this community camp here in Port Lincoln. Thanks, Bix. All right, as we just say goodbye to Adam Kelly, Ebony Marinoff not far away. She's been pressing the flesh with all the young fans here as Riley Thilthorpe wins a nice tap down to Isaac Rankin, who gives it back to Matt Crouch, who's back in the blue Guernsey. I think he'll appreciate that. But the ball's been turned over at half forward, but another good tackle. There's that defensive or forward pressure from Murph, who we've just come to expect that, and he's really worked himself into this game.
So we've seen a few changes up this quarter with Riley Thilthorpe going into the ruck for the blue team and Riley O'Brien in the ruck for the yellow team. So, yeah, just being able to give a bit of release to Riley throughout games. And I know Riley spent a bit of time in the forward line this pre-season. Riley O'Brien, shall I say. I think we've all seen Riley Thilthorpe at junior level have a real impact in the ruck, and always helps when the ruck's getting their hands on the footy and gives it confidence injecting into the game. Yeah, well, Riley O'Brien's in the yellow team at the moment. He went up in the ruck against Taylor Walker. Also see Mitch Hinge in the yellow. So there's a couple of the more recognised players in what had been the weaker team, the yellow. But maybe another look there. That's thinking that was Isaac Rankin. Yeah, geez, he's been electric today, hasn't he? And Taylor Walker again. I think that might be the second time that combination has been effective today. I mean, we've seen Tom Hawkins from Geelong do it for many years and take the ruck as Taylor Walker does in the forward 50 stoppages. But when you have that strength coming up against your opposition and you've got the likes of Isaac Rankin and Joshua Shelley dancing at your feet, it's super hard to stop. Well, one of the things about Rankin, and this sort of talks to the skill of the young man, is that he's playing against his teammates who know what all the moves are, and there'd be a block and there's a wraparound, and they know what they're trying to do. But even with that, he's just able to find space and to be able to get himself free, and just the speed of ball to boot. It was in his hand for a second, then it was on his boot, and then it was over the goal umpire's head. So he's been very, very dangerous at the moment. So we go back to the middle.
We've got O'Brien. Beautiful tap to Zach Taylor. So that was beautifully read off hand. He goes forward. Yellow can't win the footy there, and it's...
So that's Oscar Ryan. So he's only playing a half today. He's
out there
wearing the number
team.
22, taking the reins from Isaac Rankin. And, yeah, it's been raps on his speed this summer. I think the three boys that have come in have truly impressed through the draft. And, I mean, he's certainly got a bit of size to put on, but he's got speed and foot skills that the coaches really like to see. And he'll play the second half today, just managing and easing him into AFL life.
Yeah, and the one thing that impressed me most about the vision we saw on draft night and some of the highlights tapes, he's got a beautiful touch with his kick. So you see him often be able to find players in the middle of the ground. And to do that, sometimes you have to kick over players. So you need great loft. And reminded me a little bit of Bernie Vince, the way he kicked the footy, and there wasn't too many better than Bernie. So that's a big rap for Oscar Ryan. So as the yellow team go forward now, that's a nice strong mark. And then McHenry back on the yellow side. He's able to go forward. Luke Strawn not quite able to take the mark.
That was really impressive by Elliot Himmelberg, just that body work on the line there. And yeah, he's had a couple of nice moments down back. It's something that Crows fans haven't seen, but yeah, it looks to have found himself at home in the back line today.
I wasn't sure who number 41 for Adelaide. That was Josh Smithson, who took the mark at centre half forward in the last foray forward, but unfortunately Yellow couldn't get it done. Sam Berry kicks the ball long. That was Worrell, had a bit of a fly for it. Just couldn't get his hands on it. Slapped his hands together afterwards thinking, you know what, I had a really good piece of that. Probably could have marked it, but wasn't able to bring it down. So boundary throw in. These are the two men who are going to ruck for Adelaide most of this season. Phil Thorpe and O'Brien. O'Brien works him out of the way, gets it down to McHenry, who played for the free kick, didn't get it, goes back in again. That looked like a wrestling move there from Sam Berry, like a suplex or something. I'm not sure, you're a bit of a wrestler, Ebony?
Oh, I know they've been doing a bit of wrestling this pre-season actually, so maybe it's like that. But you know, it's always interesting when you're playing in these intra-clubs, but you certainly can't go past the competitiveness in the boys today. And I guess with a lot of unknown, a little bit of personnel change, there's a lot riding on these games. Yeah,
you want to put your best foot forward. Worrell there wins a free kick for a push in the back going forward. That was a nice strong body in defence.
From Mark Keane on Taylor Walker. And these two, Mark Keane and Taylor Walker, have been battling it out all summer. And, you know, Mark Keane went back to Ireland and through COVID, and he's really impressed by coming to the club. And it's a long time out of the game, but to come back, and he's had some nice moments against Taylor at training, and he's playing against one of the best key forwards in the comp.
Well, there's Walker again. Won the ball down to... That time was Ben Keys who was on the move, couldn't quite take it, ended up soccering off the ground for a behind. One of the things that's impressive about Keane is so strong through the torso. Like we saw him last year on debut, played on Charlie Dixon and was able to move him a couple of times. That time there, Taylor Walker went to bash into him to sort of move him out of the way, and Keane didn't move as Curtin takes the mark, or out on the full, take your pick, and enters the ball back forward, finds his mark there in Lockie Murphy, who's getting busy now in the front half of the ground. Oh, there's Rochelle, who takes the ball off hands. The umpire blew his whistle for a free kick. It was going to go to Chris Burgess, but Rochelle takes the crumbs anyway and finishes off. And so that's what he can do. Reads the ball beautifully, but nice work by Adelaide. Locked the ball in. Curtin found a short kick, got it into that sort of 70-metre zone. So that next entry was going to be a deep one, and that's always important. If you get a deep entry, then you can set your defence behind it and lock the ball in. But because of the crumb from Rochelle, he didn't need to do that. So really interested in this midfield contest now, Ebony. It's been evened out with Riley O'Brien going into the ruck. So we've seen the blue team, who were dominant in the first half with O'Brien, we've seen them challenge now. O'Brien to Zach Taylor was the last one out of the middle. We'll have a look and see how they go this time. But it's going to give the sort of A-grade Crows midfielders something to deal with, and just see how they handle it against probably the non-dominant ruckman in Riley Thilthorpe. It's a perfect bounce by the ump, Riley O'Brien, with the tap, but it's Jordan Dawson who wins the crumb, gets it out to Matt Crouch, And nice work there. It's a mark. Is that Billy Dowling, was it?
Yeah, so he's
number 14.
jumped into the midfield, I think.
Just on the wing there, I think he might have been.
Throughout, I think they're really trying to play that wing forward role. We've seen Ned McHenry and Lockie Murphy on the wings and then split forward. So I think that's going to be one to watch, how that plays out this year throughout the wing and forward rotations.
Okay. In actual fact, it was Lockie Thomas who's number 14. Billy Dowling is number 31. So I got that wrong, but we'll keep moving on here as Adelaide. This is the yellow team. Come out of defence. Mitch Hinge gets his hands free. Did it beautifully. It's the big man again up forward in Josh Smithson. One of the top-up players. Goes back to Strawn. He goes back again. They empty out. Just trying to get some control there to Worrell. This time it's Billy Dowling. Gets it out wide. So the yellow team just controlling the ball a bit now. Smithson again goes forward. Riley O'Brien gets the entry kick, gets it over the back. Just trying to protect the drop zone there, and the umpire says you can't do that. Paid to Shepherd, so that's a free kick. Idea was right, just trying to get the ball over the back. The kick just didn't quite have the penetration as Elliot Himmelberg now takes the mark. Wanted to try and get it to Josh Shelley, but he's just out of his range there, so he goes short. And now Adelaide come forward. There it is again. Lockie Gallant gets another fly, gets his hands to it, couldn't mark it, but butters up again and wins it. And that kick's not a great one to Taylor Walker, who had a break on Mark Keane, but the kick went over his head. And now Keane is able to send it back. Brodie Smith now playing on the yellow side. Centres the ball. And Dowling again gets a chance to enter it in. Goes long and strong. Going to test the last line of Adelaide's defence. And they weren't able to bring it to ground. And it's Kieran Strawn, who we saw do this really often at Sandford level last year. He was a cut above most of the ruckmen in the Sandford last year. So his ability to win the taps, but also to take those contested marks around the ground. And that time there, he's resting up forward and takes a mark 30 metres out.
A couple of nice moments and kicks from Billy Downing. Another one we keep speaking about, I guess, all these young kids coming through and being drafted and just having that confidence in their body and their ability to really have an impact. And this is what's happened all summer. They've just competed and challenged and reaping the rewards. And we see quite an even battle. I mean, Blue probably in the second jumped on top, but there's some really good youngsters coming through that can show they can compete against, AFL players.
Yeah, a lot of the defenders now, the A-grade defenders have gone against the A-grade forwards, so it's making it a bit more difficult. And Billy Dowling, the one thing he's got is great work rate. He really works his backside off, and I know he's been working really hard on his kicking. Went down and been watching training, and he's been working with Sam Berry and a couple of those other guys who just looking to improve their kicking, and that last kick was a nice one. But Adelaide go forward again, and this time it's Lockie Gallant. He's had a couple of jumps at it, and he's been disappointed he hasn't been able to mark one. That time he got a running jump at that and was able to just to clunk that one. So good work rate and got the reward. Third time lucky, and he's going to go back and have his second shot. He kicked the goal for the yellow team in the first quarter, and we just commended him on his preparation. He's got a really consistent process that he goes through. He saw it at Sandford level. He copped a fair bit of stick at Sandford level from a lot of the supporter groups of the opposition. He takes his time, and it's almost like a carbon copy every time, which is how the professionals do it. So we'll see if he can kick into the breeze and finish his work this time. Goal umpire gets a little bit busy there, pushes it to the right-hand side, one behind.
That's what's so impressive with Lockie Gallant, his launch at the football. He's got hoops, and I think that's what they challenged him late last year, to just launch at the football. He's got long arms, and another one looking to maybe cement that third tool in the forward line.
Yeah. There we go. James Borlace takes the ball out wide and then goes long to his ruckman in Riley O'Brien, who doesn't let him down, and Adelaide looking to move the ball quickly. Mitch Hinge picks it up and gets it on the boot. Probably had a bit more time than what he thought, but the umpires picked out a free kick. And that's going to go to...
This is Jaden Davis, another one of the Sandford top-up boys. There's about 8 of them today. It's certainly...
He kicks it really nicely. He's picked out That's Toby Murray, younger brother of Nick. And he hasn't seen a whole lot of footy today, but that was a beautiful kick by Davis. So we talked a little bit about Toby Murray playing as a key forward, probably a bit of ruck. He's very close to 200 centimetres. So he's got his brother covered in that department. Nick's probably got him covered in the bench press. He looks a bit thicker through the body.
I think Nick's got everyone covered in the bench press, especially post his ACL, shall I say.
Well, Toby kicked that nicely. He just steered that through. Just probably about a metre inside the right-hand goalpost. So the yellow team, a bit of a fight back here, which is nice. Teams have been evened up a fair bit. Riley O'Brien doing some nice work in the ruck. Interesting watching Jordan Dawson read the ball off Riley O'Brien last time, and the blue team got the clearance. So it's interesting to see how they go about it this time. Looks like, is that Chris Burgess has gone into the middle, into the centre square. So he's going to ruck for the blue team. So Riley Thilthorpe had been doing it. So once again, you'd expect Riley O'Brien to win the ball here. So this will be a good challenge for the A-grade blue midfield to try and see if they can nullify a dominant ruckman for the opposition.
So it looks to be a real true blue team strong forward line here against the best of the best in the yellow defence, with Borlace lining up against Walker and Maxi against Rankin. So you may find the next 8 minutes that it's the
Game
best
on.
key forwards against the best key backs. Looks like we had too many players.
Yeah,
in
the
field here,
yellow
Vix.
team. That's good work, Mickey Godden coaching the yellow team. That's a tactic that not many have been successful with, playing 19 players. But the yellow team, we mentioned Riley O'Brien is dominant in the ruck. Well, they've been able to get the ball down.
That's Jay Boyle, and someone who really impressed last year in the Sample. Played a lot of games just through pure dominance and became a really strong player for the Crows Sample side.
Yeah, won the ball out of the middle. Couldn't quite get it onto the body. It wasn't a bad kick. And ended up, Kieran Strawn had to pick one up off his bootlaces and had a snap. Just missed. So the Crows will come back in. And this is Carl Gallagher, the young Irishman. Crows go forward again. Burgess will look to jump at this. Takes a mark, but he took it about a metre outside the boundary line. So yellow team go back inside forward 50. Riley O'Brien looking for Murray again. That's another nice mark. Toby Murray goes forward. Not sure it was the perfect kick going forward, but he's found Harry Boyle on a lead. So Toby Murray's had a couple of nice minutes, 2 nice touches, kicked the goal, and then takes a nice contested mark and finds his teammate inside forward 50. So Harry Boyle, one of the top-up players, he flew up this morning to play. Just drags it to the left, so he can't finish off. And we've got Dan Curtin now. He's going to bring the ball in, so he's got the kicking duties. Left footer finds Elliot Himmelberg. Just misses with the handball there, and Ned McHenry just chops that off. So front half turnovers, very, very important. So they get a chance to lock the ball in now. As Jordan Dawson comes for a break and Sam Berry comes on for the blue side. There we go. Looks like Thilthorpe versus Strawn. Thilthorpe gets his hand on it. Or was that Burgess, sorry? Out of bounds. No, it is Riley Thilthorpe doing some ruck work. As Riley O'Brien says to Kieran Strawn, you go forward, I'll take this boundary throw in. So it's interesting in these games, the amount of communication. You hear the players out on the field screaming at each other, telling everyone to fill in the space, manning up. So it's a skill that you have to practice out here, because it's that communication and everyone knowing where they are and what they're doing that's so important. As the umpires found a free kick. And this is Harry Boyle again. So
it's the younger brother of Jay Boyle, his
Yeah.
first season with the Crows Sample. So think Jay's been around for a few years now and he's brought his younger brother.
Well, Harry missed to the left a second ago and he's missed to the left again. He'd be disappointed. Had two very kickable goals, but the young man is winning the ball, which is great. As Mitch Hinge comes back onto the field for the yellow side. And there's Oscar Ryan with the kick-in duties. Beautiful kick there, gets it in, left foot, finds Parnell. Paddy Parnell, that's the lead, isn't it, that kick? We're just able to loft it enough to get it over the yellow defence. Finds Scholl. Scholl comes inside the berry. So Adelaide just finding the loose player. Back to Ryan again. Let's have a look at this kick. He's gone the right foot. So that's about 6 or 7 uncontested marks. So if you're the yellow side, you're trying to man up here. You can't just let them progress down the field without risking the ball. So you're trying to make them kick to a contest, but they found another short pass. That's about 8 in the row. That's not ideal. So this is where you practice your defensive work, trying to shut them down. And that one there, another one. They've just got a hand in there. That was Zach Taylor. Gets a hand in, gets it back to Smithson, who goes forward, but it's a 3-on-1. This is going to be hard work for the Yellows. Goes across the ground, finds Curtin. Curtin's going to find another player. That's Ryan again. On his right foot, just misses the mark, looking for Matt Crouch. Crouch couldn't win it. Edwards wraps it up, wants it back. Taylor again, hadn't got a whole lot forward, so at least he doesn't just blast away. Tries to find Brodie Smith. And now the blue team have it. This time it's Rankin on his left foot. Bit scrappy here, Ebony.
Certainly is, and I guess Yellow tried to hold up the blue team, and they certainly did. They were able to get an intercept, they just weren't able to execute. But it was impressive, and it's good that they're challenging them when they're trying to shift and play slow play, because it takes one turnover, one missed kick, and they're out.
Yeah, so Yellow just have to, a little bit of composure here. And they just aren't able to find a mark and just being able to reset ahead of the footy. They've just lost their shape ahead of the footy a little bit, but they are able to keep winning it. They just probably need to get a mark and take a little bit of time and get some composure. Just aren't able to do it. Just keeps bouncing between the 250s at the moment. So not sure Matty Nix will be all that wrapped with this. So we'll get the ball in the hands of the experienced players in Taylor Walker. And unfortunately, he's been given it back, but it's a drop mark by Mitch Hinge. And that last 3 minutes, I don't think will make the highlights package there. Ball just bounced between the two forward 50s. And if you're enjoying this, it's the live stream with the Adelaide Football Club. Darcy Fogarty is just about to join us in a second, so he's just come up and saying hello to Ebony Marinoff. So we'll have a chat with Darcy and find out why he's not playing and when we can expect to see him back. But the Yellow team bring the ball back into play. There's Mitch Hinge. Goes long. Bit of a contest there. Strawn and Himmelberg. Himmelberg gets a hand on it. Blue team win it back. This is the kick. Sam Berry. This is an important kick for him. Can he find one of his teammates? He just can't there. Good work by Ball there. Just worked Taylor Walker under the footy and took a good contested mark, which is great for him. Just shows his body strength as well. Looked like a push. Yep. And the umpire saw it. So that'll come back as we reset. So both teams struggling to find the free player inside their forward 50. Bit of fatigue maybe coming in to this match, Ebony?
Yeah, literally just asked Darcy if it was hot down there. He said yes, and there's a little bit of a breeze. So hopefully in the last quarter the breeze comes on. But yeah, with low rotations today, with only 18 aside, I think they've started to spin some rotations. But this is what it's all about. They'll be playing next week at Albertson, and I'm sure some heat, and then they have West Coast to look forward to. So it's all about preparation for round one.
Yeah. So
when they're on the Gold Coast. So
well, exactly.
Maybe it's good training. I remember last year when they played
Darwin,
the Giants in the first game, and
the hot game in round one, and then they played the Suns in Darwin, which was very humid again. So that last shot at goal, that was from Riley Thilthorpe. He got a free kick on the wing. There was a 50-metre penalty awarded, so had the shot. So we come back now. Let's see if the Yellow team can just use a little bit more composure going forward. So Mitch Hinge now, he's aiming for, looks like Mark King going to get a jump at this. Takes the mark. So just has to wait to get some numbers perhaps ahead of the footy. He's got a one-on-one. Looks like, is that Harry Boyle again? Yeah. He's been impressive in this last stanza. Yeah, and a good kick to advantage as well for Riley Thilthorpe. Now, Riley O'Brien, you mentioned, Ebony, that he's been spending a bit of time in the forward half, and the one thing we know is he can mark the ball, so that's something we may expect to see more of this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you'll probably see Riley Thilthorpe spend a little bit more time in the ruck, and I mean, it's all talk and show in pre-season, but Riley O'Brien's shown time after time just his ability to take a really strong contested mark. It's probably his execution with his unique kicking style, but if he can touch that up and, potentially average 0.5 or a goal a game, it will certainly help ease the pressure and give Riley Thilthorpe a bit of opportunity to compete in the ruck.
Well, if there's one thing we've seen with Riley O'Brien, and that is his ability to work on something, like if you set him a task, and if the task is this year to improve his set shot goal kicking, you can just see the concentration on his face. And that's been probably the stamp on his career, really. He started as a rookie. I remember seeing him play his first game. It was at a country venue like this, and it was a windy day, and he had a shot from the goal square and almost kicked it out on the full. So the improvement in his kicking has been quite remarkable. The improvement in his ruck work has been remarkable. So if he's been working on his set shot goal kicking, expect that to improve fairly rapidly as well. And we just saw it then. As you said, unorthodox in his stance, the way he starts his run up, but that time there, very effective.
And you see that the likes of Max Gawn, one of the best in the business, his ability to push forward and kick a goal, or even potentially, go behind the ball and showcase his really strong contested marking abilities. Just a point of difference for the team as well.
Well, he wins the hit out again. The ball is sort of halved. This time it's Riley Thilthorpe who wins it on the ground. Rankin to Crouch to Murphy. He's going to look for his left foot now. He goes for another handball. That's Burgess. Chase Jones steps inside. If he can find a player here, that'd be fantastic bit of play, but he can't. That time it's Keys. He's been a little bit deeper this quarter.
I was going to say he's shooting out the goal square.
Yeah. So, nice bit of play. They shared the ball around, Adelaide. Just haven't quite been able to find that final kick inside forward 50 like they did in the first half. Maybe that's a little bit to do with the A-grade defence being back there. That time there it was Hinge who dropped off and affected that last kick. So the defence has been pretty good this quarter. As we hear the siren sound, just as Charlie Edwards takes the ball and gives it back to the umpire. So it was a pretty even quarter, that quarter. A little bit scrappier. I think the fatigue's starting to become a factor.
Gulligan gone. He's very fast, but unique.
Very. I think, like a lot of Irishmen, he's got the weird sort of ball drop, but like you said, he's explosive and he's extremely tough. So he's I think he's going to be a really good player. He's still got to work on his kick a little bit, which is obviously, as you'd expect, coming from the round ball. But he's going to be special. I think he's taking to the game and the game plan really well. And for someone that's come in and learning a new sport, it's pretty amazing how quickly some of these Irish boys do it.
Who's got the harder accent to realise?
I reckon Keeney. Carl's pretty monotone, so you can sort of try and pick it up. But Keeney, I can't figure Keeney's out half the time.
Yeah, he certainly says some things I don't quite understand at the best of times. But just even with Mark Keane coming in, I'm sure you training on him, his presence and his competitiveness has probably certainly brought the energy to the group.
100%, yeah, and I think being a little bit older with the boys in the back line going down, he's sort of had to take another step this year with leadership. So him and Ball Ace have been working really well together alongside Josh Worrell and a couple of other boys that are younger that are sort of driving the standard in the back line this year. So it's actually been pretty cool to watch and play alongside them sort of take another step.
And there's certainly, I guess, a spot up for grabs. We speak of the likes of Tom Doedee heading up to Brisbane and Nick Murray out of the side. Who's probably the front runner? There's a lot to go under the water in the next 3 weeks, but who's impressed you? I mean, you're playing and training against them. I'm sure that there's been some competitive battles over the summer. Yeah,
so I think, I'm not too sure. I think I'm pretty lucky it's not my job to pick the team at the moment, but Keeney and Ball Ace have been going really well. I think I've sort of been rotating on them and the other keys. But from what I've heard, them two have been pretty hard to play on, even in match sims. So they're going really well. They've had a really solid pre-season where they've been able to work together for the majority of it, and I think that's only going to hold them in good stead for the start of the year.
And another one that's probably impressed this pre-season is Sam Berry. He looks to be covering the ground and moving a little bit quicker and faster. I think he said he lost a couple of kilos, and he'll be, I guess, pushing for that midfield spot. And it's great to, I guess, have him, the likes of him, challenging, you know, Matt Crouch, Rory Laird, Jordan Dawson, Luke Pedler, and I'm sure Josh Shelley coming through the midfield this year.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's one thing every coach and every team wants, is just squad depth. And I think we've got that at the moment. It's obviously early in the year and everyone's flying, but to have some people like Bez, whether he plays half a game in the yellow side, it just shows how well the midfield's going at the moment. And I think he could really easily step in there, and there's a lot of people that could step into the team and play a really good role. But yeah, it's a good situation, a good spot to be in.
Problem that you may have not found yourself and the team in the last couple of years, but it's certainly a lot more competitive, and it's exciting for Crows fans to see the boys knocking on the door. And I guess it just makes whoever's playing at AFL level just have that little bit more pressure to perform. And talking about the performance side of things, we've had a new psych in Rosie come in. Have you been working with her, and what are the implements that she's put into the team to, I guess, get through those late games and win the ones that we may have missed last year?
Yeah, worked a little bit with Rosie as a whole team, and I think her main message is sort of just more so how we communicate with each other and how organised we are on the field. So obviously it takes a while for coaches to get messages out to the players, so if we can sort of skip that whole process and be able to lead and direct each other and know exactly what we're meant to do in certain scenarios, that'll only hold us in a good spot. So I think she's working really hard in how boys communicate with each other and how we're directing and being organised on the field. And I think, that's nearly what we need at the moment, because we are such a young group. So if we can fast track that, then we'll be set in that area.
Well, we talk about everyone flying and things like that, but Ben Keats looks like he's in absolute ripping form, and you know, it's probably something that he had knockers on when he was playing in the midfield was his ball execution and the way he kicked the footy, but he looks like he's worked a lot on that and found himself at home in the forward line, and he's certainly impressed today. Yeah,
100%. I think he's always one of our hardest workers, and I think, when you run as far as he does and you're sort of up and down the ground, it's hard to kick the ball well. So, but he's really worked on that this year, and he's going really well. He's sort of one of our more reliable players now, and for him to be able to connect in the forward line and really knuckle down on his role, it's been perfect for us. So he's a really hard matchup for defenders, where he gets up the ground and rips back. So he's been really good this pre-season.
Well, we've seen Riley O'Brien looking like a midfielder, hitting up Ned McHenry, Kieran Strawn selling some candy. And this is the thing when watching here today, there's just so many passages of play, of ebbs and flows, just with the depth of players that have been on both sides. Like you said, it's going to be really challenging and tough for the coaches, and wouldn't want to be in their shoes. And Lockie Murphy finds himself finishing in the blue team today. It's an interesting role that he plays. Has he spent a bit of time in the wing this summer, or has it been predominantly in that half-forward role?
Mainly half-forward again. I think Murph's obviously his role. He has to work really hard, and the ball doesn't always come out to his side of the ground. So, he might not get the reward on the stat sheet, but he certainly gets rewarded internally for the work he does. He's always shifting and helping out in defence, and then ripping back and getting to the front and centre of the forward. So he's it's probably not a fun job because he has to bust his ass the whole time, but it's certainly celebrated internally, and he's going really well. He puts 100% in each week, so he earns his spot more than anyone, I think.
And that's what happens at this level. You just need a role player and someone, I guess, sacrificing their stats or the flashy stuff. And I think he really found himself a crucial part of the team's success last year, and he'll be crucial going forward, just releasing that pressure off you guys and allowing you guys to work and do your thing. and you can certainly see when you are watching, he works bloody hard. Hugh Bond, someone that's second year on his list. He looks a lot physically stronger. Have you seen an improvement in his ability to get up for training and actually have an impact through the pre-season?
100%. He's probably, I reckon he's been one of the top performers in the pre-season this year. The way he's running and what he's doing in the gyms, yeah, it's huge. It's probably the best for the second year I've seen. He's a specimen, Huey Bond, but yeah, he's flying at the moment. He's going really well. He's got I think he had some injuries last year, but this year he's had a really solid pre-season where he's able to train and back up sessions. But he's going really well. I think he's going to have a really good year, and he's similar to Bez, where he could slip in and play, but yeah, it's obviously a really solid midfield to crack into at the moment.
You can definitely see that, this summer physically those 2 to 3 year players have physically got stronger. Has that been an emphasis through the training, the gym? A lot of the boys have spoken about this pre-season. A lot of the work that you've been doing hasn't necessarily just been running around the ovals. You've been doing a lot more running through footy drills and things like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes naturally as well. Like, a lot of the boys are quite light when they come on. But yeah, so naturally, just in the gym and doing full-time programs, they're going to put on muscle and get fitter naturally as pre-seasons and build their base. But yeah, it's been a sort of a bit of a weird pre-season because we're covering just as much ground, but we are doing a lot of it in the drills, which is perfect. We're not finishing sessions with a heap of running conditioning, so it's a credit to the boys. They work pretty hard during the off season, and we come back in good nick, so it sort of allows the coaches and Burjo to sort of relax on the running and be able to sort of work on structures and gameplay.
We see Lockie Gallant taking the reins in the blue ruck. He played a bit of a hybrid forward role. He launches at the footy nicely, but with the likes of yourself, Taylor Walker and Riley Thilthorpe, it's great to have someone like Lockie Gallant that can come in and actually pinch hit and really perform at AFL level, like he's shown time and time a few times last year.
100%. He's a completely different forward to the other keys. I think he loves to fly, and I think he can really do that, which is why he pitches in the ruck a little bit. So one of his weapons is he's being able to read the ball in the air and jump through it. So he brings a completely different aspect to the game that sort of, filthy and text to it, but sort of what I probably don't bring, which is good, and he sort of keeps flying at the ball.
We've got Riley Thilthorpe taking his probably 5th contested mark for the game. He's about to slot his 3rd, and we talk about everyone flying in the summer, but he looks like he's ready. He's ready to perform consistently, and he's playing with confidence, and probably, like yourself, it always finds time and the pressure, and it's not easy being a tool when you come into the AFL system playing against veterans who have experience, but he looks like he's ready to take charge with the likes of yourself to lead this club forward into the future.
100%. He's had a massive pre-season, and I think a lot of people forget that is, I think he's 21, so coming in as a 19, 20-year-old playing against people that are 26, 27 and been playing a lot of footy, especially at 200 centimetres, it's not easy for him, and he puts more pressure on himself than anyone, so he wants to perform as much as anyone does, and I think this year he's really going to take a big step when games come. He's looking strong, he's fitter than ever, and I think he's just going to have a really good year.
And we see Josh Shelley back in the midfield, linking up with Luke Pedler, two of the young bright stars that will take this club into the future. They're in their 3rd and 4th years, so it'll be awesome to see them flourish into the midfield and actually see how that midfield mix works this year. And I think we've seen Ranks do his dashing best last year, but it looks like that's, for coaches, going to be a bit more of a permanent shift with having one of them at each stoppage throughout the game. And Mitch Hinge and Max Michaelini just look like they're going to take it to the next level. And Luke Nankervis, another one with the ball in hand with the pink boots. Another one who came in and really had an impact late last year when defensive spots were up for grabs.
Yeah, 100%. I think other than the keys, I think the small backs are really settled at the moment. We've got Hingy, like you said, Maxi, Junior, Smithy, Nate can come in as well. So I think they're all really set and they're all getting to know how to play with each other. So I think obviously the more footy we can all play as a team and get set, it's only going to do us better in the future.
And that's another thing, like, you know, you come up against Phil Thorpe, Heads, like you guys are building these relationships to actually play and communicate and challenge each other when things are tough throughout the season. So it is exciting for Crows fans, and hopefully we not Chase Jones' finest moments there, but we're just in the later parts of the game, and yeah, it's been a sensational weekend or couple of days in Port Lincoln. And Ned McHenry lining up for goal with Lockie Murphy, the two small forwards battling it out. Lockie Murphy standing the mark. McHenry just misses there. Well, the ultimate swingman, and Elliot Himmelberg find himself taking the kick-outs for the blue team. Dan Curtin, he's had a little bit of an interrupted pre-season, but he's a big boy for a first year, that's for sure.
Yeah, he is. He's a good size and he's a good mover as well. I think Burjo touched on that a couple of weeks ago, how impressed he was with the way he moves for his size. Had that little interruption with his knee, but he's fit in really well. He's a really good fella and he trains hard and he wants to learn quickly, which is really good. And I think he's had to play on Tex a little bit, so he's gonna learn pretty quickly against him. So, but no, he never backs down from a challenge. He's a cracking character.
Yeah, we did see a couple of moments in the first quarter, but that's the best thing. You know, when you're an 18-year-old kid and have the opportunity to train against the best, you're just going to elevate your learnings and make you a better player in the long run. And he looks like he thrives on that, and it's exciting. And, you know, I'm sure Crows fans may see him earlier on, but you do feel for someone like Dan with the pressure externally to just come in and perform. But he looks like he's going to do some great things. And we've got a free kick to... A couple of free kicks given today. A little bit heated out there. So Kieran Strawn again spending a little bit more time playing forward, with Riley O'Brien taking the reins in the yellow ruck and Chris Burgess the ruck for the blue team. Strawny, a good finisher here.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Too late on it. He doesn't usually miss too many set shots. Big strack.
He was able to do that a bit in the sample last year.
No, he's a very good user of the ball, Strawny. He's just a natural footballer, which helps in the ruck. It gives you an extra midfielder when the ball hits the ground a little bit, and you can rely on him to keep the ball moving. So, he goes very well with ball in hand.
What about Chris Burgess? Can you tell us a bit about him? He's come from the Gold Coast. I'll be honest, didn't really know much about him, but he looks like he's fitted in seamlessly.
Yeah, 100%. I think he's one of the nicer fellas you'll meet. He's come from the Gold Coast, and I think he led their goal kicking for the last couple of years in the VFL. So he obviously really knows how to play, and I think he's going to be a massive addition to us this year. He, for his size, he brings pressure on the ground, and like Lockie Glenn, he jumps at the ball really well. So just gives us a different avenue and a different look up forward, and hopefully some more headaches for the backmen.
Another passage of play through the likes of Matt Crouch and Ben Keys, racking it up, and yeah, Ben Keys would have had his fair share of inside 50s today. A great battle between Borlace and Isaac Rankin there, and just showing, you know, Josh Worrell has the ability to play tall and small. Same with Max, and yeah, you really want that as a defender. You don't want them to be too tied up to just a key forward, and you need to have, you know, different mixed match. And when you're playing against different oppos, some play tall, some play small, and you need to have the ability to play on, tall or small or fast.
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of our backs are quite versatile, which helps, and it sort of relaxes them on matchups as well. Like you said, everyone's not stressed about people playing on certain people. They can all sort of roll off and help each other out and rely on each other, which is what you want as a backman. Well done.
Nice little passage of play through Max Marcolini, a handball receive. So we've got Jarman going for goal for the yellow team. The yellow team have had a little bit of the ball in the last 3 minutes. Near miss to the right hand side. That about wraps it up here at the Port